Welcome back to DQP Does, the Drafty Quarters Podcast Network movie review show, where we
stuff.
Yeah, we hold down. I don't know. I feel like I'm almost halfway clever sometimes with these, and then the last two has just been whatever. With me this evening is my co-host Nathan.
Hi.
Which held down the fort last week with Mallrats. And our producer who sort of pays attention to movies, Russell.
I'm ready to put my dick deep in this one.
Okay. And Nathan quits.
No, Nathan,
that's record time.
This is inappropriate.
This is going to be chasing Nathan.
Keep your fucking dick away from me.
You will be chasing Nathan.
But bro, I got an idea, all right? You, me, and Shane.
Whoa, no.
Really...
It's going to get sweaty.
Nope. Turn the heat down.
Turn the heat off.
About to turn the heat up on this podcast.
Oh, God. All right, I'm your host, Shane, and we're talking about Chasing Amy. Let's go over the cast. Hey, Ethan Suplee again. Was a random fan. Ben Affleck, Jason Lee.
I'm convinced he's still the same guy he was in Mallrats because he's wearing the same jacket.
He's not credited the same.
He should be.
Let's see.
He's the same guy from Boy Meets World too. Like he graduated high school and then,
Ethan of many names.
There were cameos by Brian O'Halloran and Matt Damon. Joey Lorden-Adams was Alyssa. Dwight Ewell was Hooper X. Casey Affleck had a cameo. Scott Mosier had a cameo.
Walt Flanagan had a cameo.
I don't know. Did his make it
Walt
in?
Flanagan.
Oh.
Surely.
Also, one of the comic panels talks about or says something about Blunt Man and Chronic chasing Walt Flanagan's dog again.
Oh, yeah. Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith were obviously in it as Jay and Silent Bob.
Smallest amount, I think, right? Like this is their smallest.
Yeah, that's pretty
role
short.
as Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, it's just the one scene.
Yeah,
because they weren't in any quick marks or quick stops.
Yeah, it might have been just the
malls.
one scene, but it was the most powerful. But
Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal.
We get to that, but
yeah.
So okay, let's just this is a very interesting movie. There's some
Foul language.
Yeah, there's some shit that happens in this movie. It has a lot to do with the gay community, because of Joy Lorden-Adams' character is gay and basically starts a straight relationship with Ben Affleck's character. And so there's a lot of slurs and shit in this movie, and there's actually a scene that was deleted from it that is it blew my mind when we watched it.
Yeah, it's a huge no-no.
Yeah, after
right
we
now.
watched the movie, and it was basically just talking about, hey, your friend uses these words a lot, and it's really offensive and stuff like that.
There's two scenes.
Well, there's two scenes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one too.
And it might be obviously he's a little homophobic and stuff like that, and they talked about it at length, and it dawns on Ben Affleck's character that there's something going on there, and they delve into that in the movie, but they don't come out and say it exactly hey, he's saying the F word and the D word and stuff like that, and this is a problem and it offends me. It more just kind of is hey, it kind of turns that joke of every homophobe is closeted gay. right?
Yep.
Is like kind of
Yeah.
like what they turn it into, but like it took it very seriously in that deleted scene, and it was like, whoa. And I think that's why they took it out, because they already had enough serious shit
maybe
in
they
it.
shouldn't have taken it out though, because think about it from
Yeah.
today's standpoint.
I mean, that's exactly what
That's
a lot of
what
people say
is being
That's
but
what's
that's
going
what,
on.
That's the whole point today now though. That shit's
Yeah.
true. So it was ahead of its time.
And it also examines the kind of the N-word a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It does.
Because they talked about the depowering words.
Mhm.
Like why black people can say the N-word and white people can't, right?
Yep.
Because they're taking the power away from the word, right? As opposed to, people that are using it, like white people or people that aren't black using it, are using it as a derogatory term.
Yeah.
Like saying, retard. It's used as a derogatory term because I saw another thing about this, Doug Stanhope, I think, like comedy bit, where he was like talking about, I call my friends retard because they're being a dumbass, and it has a connotation to mean dumb or stupid. And the reason that people started using that is because they didn't want to call people that had developmental problems dumb or stupid, so they came up with a word for it, right? So then we started using the word they came up with for people that were just doing something dumb, that weren't necessarily actually developmentally challenged, but they did something stupid. So then you call your friends that. So then you start making it so we're not supposed to say that word, and you're supposed to say developmentally challenged. So now I call my friends developmentally challenged. And it doesn't matter what you do, I'm going to continue to say this thing. So if you make it a string of 7 words that are in Latin, I'm going to call my friends that no matter how hard it is to say. And he keeps going on and on about that. And that is definitely one viewpoint, and it is kind of how it works, right? But then you also have like these words that are so like embroiling to certain groups of people that are like kind of poking them out as a minority, and it is problematic. And then you have a character that uses it like 10 times in this movie, and not in a way that is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like if this scene had been in the movie where Alyssa is telling Holden that it's not okay, I think it would have made it better that it was in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it would have been like, hey, Banky's wrong for saying this, and just like saying it all the time, and saying all this other homophobic stuff. And I think it would have made it better that his character was doing that, to have it examined within the movie by Alyssa's character.
Yeah, that definitely should have been a scene that was in the movie. Like I didn't watch that outtake with you, but you talking about it like while watching the movie, I was like, somebody should probably like reprimand him. I know this
say
is like
something.
97 or whatever,
Yeah.
but like
It's like one of the heated scenes between him and Holden. Holden does say something to him. It's like, stop saying that, or stop calling her.
Yeah, like he
Yeah.
let it go
Yeah.
on for so long.
Yeah.
And he was like, no.
Yeah, and then he was like, you know what, stop calling her that, because he was calling her the D word, and it was like,
So there's another deleted
Yeah, what
scene
was
that
the other
you didn't
one?
watch with us, where they're driving in the car. Ben Affleck's driving, and she's sitting
yeah.
backward,
Right.
which very dangerous.
Yeah, super dangerous.
She's sitting backward in the passenger seat, and he was like, "Do you feel like things that have happened in your life have led you to be a lesbian?"
Oh, yeah.
And there's a huge argument, about the born that way thing, because like
oh,
Right.
people aren't just like, what's the word? How am I wanting to word this correctly?
You aren't just a product of your
Environment. Yes,
environment. Yeah.
well, I feel like there's a lot of negative connotations about sexuality in this because essentially,
I mean,
and I love this movie. I want to say that I love this movie, but essentially they're saying like, being a lesbian can just be like turned off.
Right.
Which if you meet the right person in general,
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, feelings can,
right.
flourish or go forward, or
So couple things. I don't think they had the term pansexual in the 90s.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
Pansexual is someone who doesn't identify their sexual attraction with a gender,
Right.
and is more so attracted to just like
So
a person.
okay,
like
so
a
in the 90s
personality.
you're either gay or straight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it.
and
Right.
like I mean, even
That's a good
It
point.
wasn't even like really bi. Like even like as recently as like 10 years ago, people were like bi are just people that can't make up their mind and shit like
That's
that.
true.
You know? So
or
like
they're greedy, or
Yeah.
a lot of
or sluts
Because
You know,
essentially
they would just slut shame them.
with Bohemian Rhapsody, the guy that played Freddie Mercury and that was like a gay man, but Freddie Mercury was not gay.
Yeah.
He was bisexual.
Right.
So
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that's a term
But
that he
neither
wanted to
was
be bi.
accepted
So,
at that
yeah.
time.
Well, but nevertheless,
Yeah.
like,
But
so
yeah,
there's like
I
there's
feel like
different.
they also explain that a lot in this movie.
You think so?
I feel like they did because she talks at great length about how she didn't the scene where they're laying in bed together and he like asks the like really fucking stupid question, why me?
But everyone asks that in
Yeah,
relationships.
just,
it's so stupid.
there
But
was so
I feel like there's
many
like a
parts.
codex of
Yeah.
questions you have to ask
Yeah.
when you get in a relationship.
Right.
And there's certain ones you just don't want to fucking ask.
Right.
Like how many? That's the big one.
Yeah, don't do
Which
that.
if he would have asked that,
37.
it wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah.
I feel like on the ending of this,
Yeah.
but nevertheless.
Right. But she basically says that that she didn't actually like try to she was looking for a specific person, not a specific gender or a specific person within a gender. So she puts it something like I didn't want to immediately drop my chances of finding the right person by half by choosing one or the other. So that's why she started going with she kind of like hints that she had been with men before, but she doesn't come out and say it. But she says like that's why I was attracted to women, but like I'm with you now because I didn't want to put a cap on it.
She does kind of hint, but she also deflects a lot. Like,
oh yeah, she definitely deflects.
He tries to like passively find out if he's the first guy, and she
right the whole virginity conversation on the
and
swings.
She just like keeps deflecting.
Right. Well, that's before they even like have
I don't
sex
feel
and,
like she was
like, get
deflecting.
together.
I feel like she was just answering differently because like he's like, well, you haven't been penetrated, or like you're still a virgin. And she goes, okay, well, what is virginity to you? And he's penetration. Right. And then, so she's answering the question. She's just not answering like the full on. She's not willing to give up all of her information.
Redirecting the question
to
with
not
the
reveal
answer
any...
she wants to give.
Yeah.
So like that's what I mean by
kind
deflecting.
Of a tricky question too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not like attacking her.
No. I'm not saying that you are.
She. There's plenty of chances she has to be like, wait, like you don't think you're the first, do you? But she even says later on,
she purposefully
purposefully let him think that because it made him
feel special. Right?
Yeah. Which is fucked up. Like,
yeah, but it's literally what fucking Hooper tells him like the scene before.
Yeah.
He's like, don't think that you're the first one. Ain't nothing that hasn't been done under the sun. Yeah. So don't ever think that you're the first one on the mountain.
Yeah, he got some warnings.
Yeah.
What I mean by it that it's fucked up is that like how well the scene is done because you get both perspectives.
Yeah.
Because, like, you get his perspective where he's, like, you know, he's up in the clouds and, like, he feels fucking great because he's, like, slept with a lesbian. And then you get, like, her, like, you're kind of like, well, I mean, she's fucking wrong. She fucking lied. And then she, like, explains it. And you're like, okay. I mean, I
Yeah.
see where you're coming from.
I
with
mean, for the
this.
most part in this movie, I feel like she only has like a couple of little like white lie kind of things moments.
Right.
It's not even really lying. It's just like, and it's not even like leaving information out. It's just like he never asked the question,
Right.
you know, kind of things. And there's a couple times where she does overreact to something, but like he like goes way overboard on several points and like asks really dumb questions that nobody actually will ask or wants the answer to.
Yeah.
And it that's where all the like super uncomfortable scenes lead.
I wouldn't say that people don't ask them.
I mean, people do ask them, but
yeah,
they don't want the answer.
Right, they don't want the answer. And that this movie's like this relationship and the way this movie like shows this relationship is like one of the most accurate portrayals of a relationship that I've seen on screen.
Yeah.
Just because like and getting both perspectives is awesome because like if you're just one or the other, then you're not getting like that full perspective. So like this really is a movie that I think a lot of couples should watch. Just because of it, in the movie you can see both sides of the perspective. And I really like when Banky tells him you're too conservative for this girl, like early on, and like just lays it all out there. And he's like, you're too conservative for her. You aren't going to be able to handle any of this. Like
she's done things that you and I have only read about.
Yeah. And like, and then as the movie progresses, you're just like, oh fuck. And then it doesn't get brought back up. Like I really would have liked. And
like in I Told You So?
Yeah, I really would have liked an I Told You So. Not as a joke, but just as like, you know, as after Holden sits him down and they have the conversation, which he felt was needed. Banky would have just been like, I saw this coming, and then like walked out of the room, like mic drop.
Yeah.
Like that would have been.
I think they dropped that in favor of him going along with it joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there could have been some reconciliation on his and Alyssa's part at that point, but the suggestion of a group hang kind of threw all that under the bus.
Menage a trois, I believe. It's
Devil's threesome.
Yeah. The tricycle.
Finger cuffs.
Regardless,
I mean that depends. He was talking about having sex with Banky too. I almost call him Banksy like you were earlier.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it could have been a guy in the middle sandwich.
It could have.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So then it's like a perpetual motion machine.
This got more weird because I didn't even think about that. Like I would.
But it was at that point that he fucked up his chances with Alyssa.
Clink.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I forgot about that whole scene.
Yeah.
So I just straight up forgot about that whole scene.
He like pulls the little chair in front of the TV and you're like, wait, what the fuck's happening? I don't remember this part. And I just was like, oh my God, this is the fucking part, dude.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so when he starts talking, I was like, don't fucking suggest it. And then he keeps going, and I was like, oh no, here we go. And then Joey Lauren Adams is like, don't say it, don't say it. And I'm like, yeah, girl, to fucking tell him, just fucking don't do it. Stop. And then he keeps going, and I was like, "You ruined everything."
Everything.
Um,
Yeah. Have you ever just like come up with an idea that like ruined everything? Not like
I hope not.
didn't work out, or it like, maybe if we had done it right, it would have worked or something like that. But you just like suggest the idea, and everyone around you doesn't want to be around you anymore.
Yeah. No, I've had some pretty ridiculous ideas, but I don't think I've had that happen.
Bad plan.
Yeah, I
super bad
texted
plan.
you when I was watching it.
Yeah, you
Saying-
did.
I said, "Oh, forgot about this. This is cringy as fuck."
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about that a little bit. There's some really hard cringe moments in this movie for me.
Okay.
That's one of them. Because, like, every time I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. Just get the fuck over it.
It's like that part in movies where you're like, maybe it'll be different this time.
I hope. Every time I watch it, I hope
And
it's different.
not.
And it's not
still-
it's not cringy in a bad way. It's cringy in like I feel for these characters. So I
Yeah.
obviously give a shit about the characters and I want them to be back together, and I'm just like, you dumb motherfucker.
Mhm.
What are you doing?
Mhm.
So that's why it's cringy. And like the other scenes are similar. When they break up at the hockey rink. Holy shit.
Now hold on, were they really broke up at that point, or they just had a fight really, and they hadn't reconciled it until the point where they hang out?
Yeah,
where they have that thing?
whatever it was.
That's like the last fight, and you know it's the last fight, so
Yeah.
you resort to desperate measures.
right.
It would have been fine if he wouldn't have suggested a threesome.
I think either
If-
way they were breaking up after the hockey rink.
If he didn't push her off after she apologized, which she apologized,
Oh yeah,
that's
no.
fucked up. Like the whole scene is fucked.
There's several chances where Holden can fix it.
Yeah,
Like, I've never seen so many extra lives somebody has gotten.
right?
It's like Mario, and he's got 9 lives, and he still fucks every one of them up.
Yeah.
Like when she like falls into him.
He like pushes her
All
off.
right, I'm gonna try not to get emotional. In my head, I was like, just fucking hug her and tell her it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
You're a big
Dang it.
idiot. Just
Yeah.
leave it alone.
Yeah. And
Yep.
then he doesn't, and he just like shoves her. And I was like, oh my God, you made it worse.
Yeah.
How do you make it worse? And then we
Yeah.
get to the next scene, and I was like,
You
Dude,
made it worse.
you keep fucking up.
Oh man, but yeah, that whole scene. Whoo, Jesus.
Joey
Just-
Lord and Adams, if you're out there and if you're listening, I accept you. And I live at.
Wow.
This is a good time to plug Drafty Dames. It's a joke that just keeps living.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be in every episode of the Jay and Silent Bob Saga.
Hopefully.
And then
At Drafty Dames on Twitter.
yeah. And then the other one is the love confession. And like that one just hurts because like I've had that moment where not to that extent
Yeah.
where you're like, oh my God, like, cause he fucking goes off. But, just the like, hey, like, I'm interested in this being more than just friends. And, kind of like putting a little bit of pepper on it so that, that the other person understands that you're being serious, not just being like, hey, I kind of want to get laid. I'm into you.
Yeah.
You like put some stink on it so, they understand that you're being serious about what you're saying, and like, and then just like no.
And
No.
Yeah.
And then the whole fight afterwards is fucking brutal. And the moment that the movie stops being realistic for about 5 minutes is when she comes running back, because that doesn't fucking happen. It just doesn't, especially in that situation.
Okay.
so you're talking about like putting some little bit of pepper on it, and Holden just full on like
He dumped the whole
ghost
shaker
pepper
out.
sauces
No,
it.
no. I mean, like, just like spice it up. Make
Yeah.
it sound
It
good.
was almost too much.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it was
no,
too much.
Yeah, he lays it
put-
on real thick.
Yeah, he puts it all out there, like too much of it out there. like repeats himself a little bit too, which I mean,
but people do that in real life.
Yeah, people do that.
I guess
I just did it a second ago.
Yeah, I felt like he was like, it was weird because I felt like Ben Affleck did a really good job in that scene.
It was good.
He really the acting is done well. He really
uncomfortable.
puts his heart into it. It is really uncomfortable, and I also understand where she's coming from because the position he puts her in. Like, there's no warning. There's no anything. He just pulls over, and she's like, "What's going on? Like, do we have a flat tire?" And he's like, "I fucking love you." And then it tells her he loves her for 5 minutes. Yeah. Like, not just like I'm in love with you and I can't stand to be around you without being with you.
No. And he just goes on and on,
which I mean is a thing.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a real thing. I think we've all had that moment, right?
Men and women have probably been doing it since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
probably mostly men do it, I would say, though.
It's because men have a hard time
describing feelings.
Yeah. So when you start, you just opened the gate and it's hard to close it again. So you're just like, it's all coming out right now. Here you go. This is everything that I feel all at the same time. Hope you can handle that or it doesn't weird you out.
Fucking Hoover Dam exploded.
Yeah. And it definitely weirded her out.
Yeah.
So there's 4 really good scenes. Or 4 really powerful scenes, because you got that, then you got the other 2 that we just talked about, and then you got the Kevin Smith scene.
Yes.
Which you ever told somebody what to do and given them advice, and they take your advice and fuck it up? Because that's what happened when Kevin Smith, his character, when Silent Bob gives him the greatest lines ever. And I feel like it was also an apology for his real life relationship with Joey Adams.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's what this movie was based off of. He tells him this fucking story, and it's just it's educational. It's going to help him make the right decision, and he just fucks it up so bad. It's just, this movie, it basically says, when you get in a relationship, don't worry where the person's been to get to you. Worry about the journey you're going to do together.
Yeah.
We need to leave the past at the fucking door. Don't fucking bring their baggage with you. Make your own fucking baggage together. It's real simple.
Yeah.
And it's, like you said earlier, fucking couples need to watch this movie together.
Yeah.
Because it's beautifully written. It's beautifully done, and it's educational as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie is fantastic. And, so along with that, I said along with that. The other scene that I thought was really good, that's actually really subtle, is so when they're in the rain and they're talking, she says, I can't just upheave my entire life, after he confesses his love in the car.
Right.
And she's like, I have this whole life that I have. And she's basically talking about how she's a lesbian and all the friends that she has.
Yeah.
And,
all her lesbian friends, all the places she hangs out with.
Yeah. And then later on, when she's sitting down. It's been a month since she's seen her friends. She's sitting down and they're doing the envelopes and stuff like that. And one of them, and she keeps saying, she doesn't say him. She keeps saying they.
She's playing the pronoun game, as they put it.
Yeah. So, and then she finally says it's a guy.
Yeah.
And they are all super fucking judging her.
Yep.
And she just kind of puts her head down and moves on and cuts to the next scene. But that scene, I thought that scene was fucking great because it calls back to that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And, she goes through a lot for him.
Yeah.
To be with him. She basically gets alienated, because we don't see her friends after that. So we're left to assume that, they probably aren't really speaking to her because people get mad at people for dumb shit. And so Like she basically has gone through all of this, so for him to like come in and treat her differently, which isn't what she wanted, and like treat her, and she even says in that conversation where he like suggests the three-way, at the end she says, "I'm not your fucking whore."
Yeah.
And like that's her perspective. So like for like Holden's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, so like the whole movie, he's basically not thinking about her at all.
Yeah, he's just thinking about himself
how
and how he
he
feels.
feels about her, which is interesting and is a recurring theme in these movies, right?
Yeah,
Like it's happened with
37 dicks.
yeah.
So it happens
Yeah.
with Dante.
Dante.
It
happened
happens
with
TS and Brody.
Yeah,
and then
they come back around a little bit.
And is it not a little bit happening with Banky?
Yeah.
Thinking about his feelings that he's not willing to, that he wasn't ready to fully commit to with Holden.
Yeah.
Like that's why he was trying to be like, this chick is bad for you, man.
Right.
Blah. Here's all these like reasons. I found this information out, you know?
Yeah, why was he snooping anyway?
He was sticking a stick in the spokes.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, I also think Banky genuinely was looking at Holden's best interest because he's the only person in this movie who knows Holden.
Well, was he looking in Holden's best interests for Holden's sake or for his sake in relation to Holden? Because that's what comes up is like when he says, "I've got your back," and he says, "Well, why do you have my back?" It was like, well, to protect what we've built over the last 20 years. And he's not talking about the comics. He's talking about their relationship. And it's not necessarily to protect Holden's feelings or anything that Holden actually cares about. It's to protect his end.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to lose Holden.
Yeah.
Because when you start talking about motivations and stuff, and you're like, if they're looking into someone's best interests for that person's sake, then that's altruistic. But if they're looking into that person's best interest because it benefits them for them to be in a good place, then it is not altruistic.
Well, I mean, I took away that he cared about him, and that's why.
Yeah.
And with the line, I wasn't talking about the comic. Then, like that was kind of what solidified for me that Banky had like cared about Holden in whatever way, but cared about Holden in a way that he wanted him to be happy, but also wanted him to be careful of what he was doing, and that he knew like in the beginning that Holden wasn't going to be able to, that there was only pain at the end of this road for Holden.
Right.
And he wanted to like save him from that, whether it be because he romantically loved him or just loved him as a friend. Like I feel like that is still relatively ambiguous by the end of the movie.
Right.
But with
Alyssa, Banky, Holden, Hooper,
I don't know.
Steve Dave?
Not Steve Dave.
What were you saying?
I don't know.
I was texting. I'm sorry.
What was I saying before you brought up the
altruism thing?
Altruism thing.
I don't know what that word means.
You were just talking about how Banky had Holden's best interest at heart while sticking a spoke in the wheels.
Oh, okay. So with that, I think that Banky had Holden's best interest at heart. I don't think he knew how to help or to be productive. So, and he is a very destructive character. Like he's very self-destructive and just destructive in general.
Right.
So I think he went about it the only way he knew how.
By trying to wreck it.
By essentially trying to wreck it, but wanted to help. So like I think his
he's just universally aggressive throughout the whole movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but he's the only character that like knows Holden. Like
Right.
they've been friends since 3rd grade or whatever.
Now, here's my point. How long were they together? How long
I
would
don't
you
know.
give it?
Holden and
Yeah,
Alyssa? I don't know, like 6 months or something.
You
maybe
would say 6 months, roughly,
Yeah.
maybe shorter, because I mean, let's think about it. They were trying to work out this cartoon deal. They never got worked out. So how long do you think that deal would have been on the table?
I mean, that entirely depends. Sometimes it sits for a long
We'll
time.
say 6 months. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Say 6 months.
If this and how long do you think it took Banky to get that information? It took him that 6 months to get that information, and just happenstance talk to Kohi and get that information.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. If Holden and Alyssa's relationship would have went on for longer,
Yeah.
do you think that it would have been able to withstand and weather that storm?
No.
A year, maybe 2. Let's say 2 years max.
I think you could put them together for 5 years. And I don't think I think the character we know as Holden wouldn't have been able to handle it or deal with it any other way until he fucked it all up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that depends a lot on different aspects of character growth.
Well, because I also feel like more information would have eventually came out during that.
It might have trickled out.
relationship.
So then it was like, you've been with another guy.
yeah.
Get over that part.
I personally really feel that Banky was sabotaging that relationship from Jump Street, like from the very beginning. Anyway,
he was.
I mean, he was definitely a catalyst, but like with Holden being as quote unquote conservative or as immature or however you want to put it,
conservative or inexperienced, I feel like is adequate, and you're not talking about like right wing conservative, just like conservative as in you don't do, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like we're not talking
Sexually
about like
conservative.
his politics. Like
Yeah.
he's
Sexually conservative. He's into missionary and doggy style and maybe knocking over a couple things, and that's about it.
Maybe not even doggy style. Conservatives are weird. Praise Jesus. So Jesus didn't do doggy style, neither do we. That's probably too far.
You don't know, his girlfriend was a whore. So
Yeah,
he
well.
probably got all of his 12 apostles to have a 13-way with him and his girlfriend.
I mean, spread the love.
Yeah.
I said love thy neighbor. I didn't fucking stutter. Until he had like a call to action to investigate himself, I don't think he would have grown out of that conservatism.
Yeah, he also takes things like really terribly.
Yeah.
Like he was a pouty bitch after he found out that like that could be an actual thing.
Yeah.
And like they're at the fucking hockey game and he's just like not looking at her, not talking to her. Like it was the same thing when he found out she was gay.
Yeah.
Like when he thought she was into him and he was super into her and she's like singing and the girl steps out in front of him and she runs off the stage and starts making out with the girl, like immediately goes from like super happy to just like morose.
Yeah.
And then her and Banky get along by telling sexual encounter stories of going down on chicks.
Yep. The only
'Cause
time they
essentially
get
that's how Banky worded it.
Yeah. The only time they ever get along in the movie.
And then the whole time Holden's just sitting there fucking being a morose motherfucker.
Smells like somebody shit in his cereal.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It's maybe you got a point. Maybe Holden couldn't have handled it either way.
Yeah, I think he needed to go through the thing. He needed to go through
he
the
went
thing.
through it, and then he made an apology at the very end of the movie by making a comic book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they do.
Which is awesome. I like how it all came full circle, and you realize. And then like later on, we see Holden's character again in the movie, and maybe he's different.
Yeah.
At that point, we don't get enough of him in that movie to prove that point.
Chasing Amy 2. I want to see where Holden McNeil ends up, other than in the next movie we see him in.
Do we know if Holden is in the reboot?
I do not. I super want to see the reboot though.
Chris Jericho is.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I know Banky's in it.
Well, I'm only
I
saying
think
that
Brody's
because
in it.
Chris Jericho's a wrestling reference. So tune in to the bi-weekly wrestling podcast, Crimson Ring.
Yeah. All right.
So I really hope the reboot is about them trying to reboot the Blunt Man and Chronic stuff, because it's called Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I haven't seen a trailer.
Oh, because they need money.
Is that what it's about?
No, I'm just fucking guessing.
Shane knows. He's looking at us funny.
I don't
He's
know
like,
shit
you
about
dumb
it.
you haven't-
motherfuckers.
No, I don't want to know. I want to
Okay,
watch the
cool.
movie.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to ratings then. We'll rate this and cap it all off.
So there were Easter eggs in this movie. Fuck
Oh,
your
we're going to
ratings.
do Easter eggs?
Yeah, real quick. There was a Mallrats bumper sticker when Holden tells Alyssa how he feels in the car and she goes storming out. You can notice that when she comes running back, a white bumper sticker that says Mallrats is on the bumper of the truck. If you don't see it, like they give you a link here. Apparently, you can also see the camera crew following him.
Yep. In a reflection.
So that's interesting. Then in the scene where Holden is questioning Alyssa about her sexual experience with Rick Darris and Cohee Lundy, and how she got her nickname, which I'm not going to repeat. The guy sitting next to Alyssa is played by Ernie O'Donnell, which is the same guy that plays Rick Darris,
Yep.
which is great.
Yep.
And then also in Chasing Amy, when Holden and Banky are in the diner listening to the music playing, it's the song Loki sings in Dogma after he kills the guy on the bus.
Tom Hiddleston's in Dogma?
Get the fuck out of here.
I just didn't know that.
Oh,
Get
my
the fuck
God.
out of here.
Why?
Fucking poser.
Poser.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Those are the only three.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah,
Are
it was
we
a
gonna
short
do
list of
SLC
eggs.
Punk?
What?
I was bringing up another movie we should watch.
What the fuck?
I just
All right.
watched it not too long ago too. That's weird.
That movie's intense.
I'm going to rate this first.
Dang, that's usually what
do
you do.
it.
Yep. I'm going to give this one an 8.75 because I don't like it as much as Clerks. I used to think this was my favorite one, but I don't know. I don't watch movies that have this intense of like real shit.
I love this shit.
Yeah, like for enjoyment regularly anymore, but I'll like watch Clerks, once every couple months or something if I'm thinking about it. Or, that's the kind of shit that I like to watch all the time is fun stuff. This gets real not fun at a couple points. There is a ton of really funny shit in it. But there's like 4 spots where it's just like, fuck this. This is awful. And not in like it's bad. It's uncomfortable. And I don't like uncomfortable.
Okay.
So, but it's done so fucking well and it's amazing. So it's definitely a really good movie. So I'm giving it an 8.75. Russell?
I'm gonna give this movie a 9.75.
What?
So,
Is this the highest you've rated a movie? No, I think there's a 9.8 and
okay.
9.9.
So my ratings for this series of movies are going to be exclusively to Kevin Smith.
Oh God.
Because if not, I'm gonna have to start doing like 4 and 5 different fucking numbers. I think about it also differently. But yeah, but we'll make it easy. I'll say 9.5. I'm indecisive today.
9.5.
The movie put me in a weird mood, which you can hear about at a later date when Shane and I get drunk.
Oh, boy.
and record ourselves having a conversation, which Nathan will moderate because
Yes,
someone
I
will have
will.
to control us.
Yes, I will.
Are we going to have like a
Unedited.
weird, like tearful, drunk
I don't know.
talk
If
about
we-
like personal feelings
We got
about
time.
things?
If we get like some tweets or some messages and people want that shit,
Oh,
like they can
God.
get it. It's going up on Patreon because listen, if you are going to hear us cry, you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
I
haven't-
want this to
but-
happen so fucking bad.
I gotta tell you, I haven't cried like actually cried in years. So if I cry, it's gonna be bad.
I might cry. Tears of happiness.
You
I want this
dick.
to happen so bad. No. Genuinely, that would be probably a really good listen.
Yeah.
It'd be our Chasing Amy.
Unless I was like ugly crying or something, and it's just
We're not
like,
gonna film
ugh.
it. It'll be all right.
No, I mean you can still sound disgusting.
Like sniffly.
Yeah, just like.
Sound like a video I watched this morning.
Ah, boo.
Walrus.
Walrus. I didn't watch Tusk.
That's when you punch it. Never mind.
Nope.
I just saved it for edits.
So watching this movie this time, this movie has probably at least made it into top 10, top 20 movies. Clerks is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
But this movie is done really well.
Yeah.
Clerks was done as well as they could do with what they had.
Right.
Mallrats could have been done better with what they had.
Right.
And now we're to Chasing Amy, where like I don't know that I've ever watched anything that has felt so fucking real.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's uncomfortable at times. It fucking hurts. Like it's intense. Like you feel for the characters. And I shy away from stuff sometimes when I'm embarrassed for characters.
Yeah.
But like this was done so well that I was right there. It wasn't like I was watching it getting awkward for someone else.
Mhm.
Even the really weird scene with the suggestive thing and the three people sitting down.
This is great.
This just got weird because, yeah.
I can't explain anything now. It's like when a movie has to go from R to PG real quick.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So, I'm right there in the room with them. I'm experiencing it as a character. Like, so it's not causing me to shy away out of an awkwardness as much as I'm just like feeling what's going on. And like, that's, I've said it before, that's what I enjoy in movies is like, make me feel something. And like this movie does, like all the characters do a good job. Like there's a particular character that I resonate with, but I really feel for each of the characters.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that is really hard to do. I don't get that very often out of movies where each character I'm feeling for, it's usually just the one I'm resonating with. So I think that, like, I don't remember loving this movie this much, but my life experiences have changed since the last time I watched this movie, so that might have a little something to do with it. But this movie is just, it is fucking gold.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic.
It's gold, and I'm sold.
Nathan?
You ever think that in movies Kevin Smith does, he has the words in Clerks, and then he gives you a description of the words with acting them out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a standard for all of his movies in a way? He does that? And maybe we don't notice it?
The titles are like involved in the movie in interesting ways.
Okay.
You got something?
So, yes, and the hockey rink, when they're in the hockey rink and the fight going on between the hockey players,
Yeah.
is like metaphorical for like
how-
him getting his ass whooped in that conversation.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah. I mean, but that's kind of how like all of the movies are.
Is that just
like-
something they learn in film school? But he like was only present for those like couple of weeks. They learned that because he like dropped out.
I think the reason he is so good is the lack of training.
Yeah.
Because when you learn something creatively, you learn all of the structure and you learn all of this, all of how it's supposed to be. And there's the saying where you learn how it's supposed to be first, and then you break it. You break all of it.
Okay.
And I don't really necessarily think he needed to learn all of it as
he
much
was gonna
as
break it regardless.
yeah, he was gonna break it either way.
Okay.
So like I don't necessarily think that that's something that you can teach someone, as much as like that is just how creative of a director he is, which we witness his genius in Clerks and being able to figure out ways around everything that he did. So I just think that he's naturally talented at putting a film together. I think he's seen so many movies, and in an evening with Kevin Smith, he talks about his movie room. But I just think that he has analyzed so many movies and seen so many movies, and then he wanted to do it, so he went out and did it. And he spends the time, the effort, and just like puts a lot of fucking passion into it. It's, they say it's all dick and fart jokes. I tried to whisper that. But there's like a ton of passion in these movies.
Yeah.
Thanks, Holden. So moving forward, a rating. I'm going to get to this quick because I want to eat some tacos. Okay. Chasing Amy.
So did Alyssa.
I'm still eating my tacos. I would eat tacos with Alyssa. I'd be okay with that.
Same.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, a rating I would give this movie. I love this movie so much because it's educational in a way that it's real and it's a message that needs to be heard for people that are out of relationships, in a relationship, going to get into a relationship. There's some real shit here, and I talked about it early on in the podcast. So if you didn't fucking pick it up, you should listen again and give us 2 downloads or whatever. That'd be great. So I'm going to give this a rating of it's a freshly opened pack of nails and a drawing table and a free day in front of you, and you're just going to create. Because this was a creation of art. And that's the rating it's going to get from me.
Fucking into that.
I like that.
You're welcome.
Is the window slightly cracked
Of course, you got to get that fresh breeze in
on a
from the morning.
68-degree day?
You know it.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I want that right now, actually.
Yeah, like every day. Let's do it. And you can help us get there by...
Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram at DraftyQ. Find us on YouTube, Drafty Quarters Podcast Network. On Facebook, search for Drafty Quarters Productions. Become a patron on Patreon. Also, Drafty Quarters Productions. We have $1, $5, $10, and $25 tiers. Different tiers of content that you're going to get. Not all of it is done yet, but we're working on it, and there will be content there. You can email us, draftyq@gmail.com. The other podcasts have Twitters as well, at Crimson Ring Pod, at Drafty Dames. Nathan has at Big Smooth _DQP, and Doug has at Woodscale, or no, not at Woodscale 1, at DQP Squirrely D. So that's going to do it for this episode of DQP Does, the third episode in the Jay and Silent Bob saga, Chasing Amy. Bitch, what you don't know about me, I could just about squeeze in the Grand fucking Canyon. Did you know I always wanted to be a dancer in Vegas? No? Bet you didn't even know that shit, did you?
And I'm Russell.
What?
Oh, never mind. You already introduced me.
What the fuck?
And my podcast is bi-weekly.
This is the flagship. Oh, man.
This has been a production of the Drafty Quarters Podcast Network.